Hello and welcome to the Paid Search Podcast. My name's Chris, and today we're going to talk about Google Ads, of course. I'm continuing my series on the 10 principles that everyone should know. This is part 2. Episode 425 is the one that you need if you want to hear the first 3. Today we're going through the next 3, which talks about proactive, reactive management. That's one principle. Quality score is another principle, and risk management is the third principle. So this is part 2. Thank you so much for being here. I am going to discuss a question from a listener as well. We're going to cover that, and I guarantee you're going to learn something. I'm going to talk about several things. This is going to be a very informative podcast. That is my one goal, is to share education about Google Ads to people in the United States and around the world. So if you don't know me, I am a Google Ads manager. I've been managing Google Ads accounts for 20 years now, over 20 years. And my main job is just to manage my client accounts. I don't have employees. I don't manage for an agency or anything like that. I just take clients and manage accounts for those clients, businesses that do lead generation and e-commerce, anything in between. I've pretty much done it all at this point. So you're going to hear from me as a veteran of Google Ads for many years, multiple decades at this point. I'm going to share everything that I know. And if you'd like to engage with me on a deeper level, either as someone that can manage your account for you, or perhaps you want to just sit down, let's have a conversation. Let's discuss your Google Ads account. Let's get deeper into how you can get more out of Google Ads. You can find more on my website at chrisschaefer.com. All right, so let's jump in. And before I do that, one more thing I want to tell you about optio.com/PSP. That's a special URL that you can go to try my favorite online Google Ads management tool, period. That is doing more and more for managers out there every single day. It does reporting. It does alerts to tell you when certain things break in your account, when you're overspending, when you're underspending, when you have certain bidding issues, when a certain landing page is broken, when an ad is broken. And that's just scratching the surface. It really does a lot. I've been mentioning this new tool lately that they do, this Ngram Finder tool that is particularly unique. It is really great. And these are all tools designed to help you get more done in Google Ads. So if you want to try the tool for free, you can use my link, optio.com/PSP. When you go there, just use the chat box and tell the friendly people at Optio, hey, can I get Chris's special deal of 2 months? And they will hook you up. All right, let's jump in. So we're starting with a question from Justin, who's in Northern Ontario, Canada, enjoying the nice, cool weather, probably year-round. So I'm a bit jealous, Justin. And he does mention at the bottom of the email, he says, I hope you're enjoying your hot summer in Texas. Yeah, enjoying is a stretch. I mean, it is nice to be in Texas, but not the Texas summer. So thanks, Justin, for sending your email. If you would like to send in an email, you can do that at paidsearchpodcast.com. There's a link to send in an email there and get your question answered. I appreciate all the emails I get, and I get a lot of them, and I do eventually. Justin will know this is about 6 weeks late from when he sent in his email. So I do eventually get to them. I don't answer all of them, but I appreciate and read every single email. All right, he says, hey, Chris, love the show. Extremely helpful as I'm diving back into PPC in a consulting position and trying to get caught up after being out since 2020. It's been insane. Okay, so it's a longer email, so I'm going to break it up a bit here. But basically what Justin is wanting is to know, what do you recommend for crash coursing in tags and Google Tag Manager? I need to learn how it connects with WordPress and other sites. the mechanics of the conversions, the layout of Google Tag Manager, how it ties in with both GA4 and Google Ads. It's overwhelming, and I don't know where to begin. Okay. And particularly, I know, Justin, that you are interested specifically in key events that are being tracked. What conversions should be tracked? Because let me tell you this, because you specifically asked about this in your email. The first thing you should know is that the recommended conversions that are coming from Google Tag Manager or GA4, wherever they may pop up, sometimes even in Google Ads, do not take the recommended conversions, key events, whatever they want to call them, and add those as conversions just because it's being suggested to you. That is 100% wrong if that conversion does not represent a key value to the Google Ads account that you're managing. So specifically, it might say form started. Someone lands on a form page, and at least Google Ads knows that a form has been started and it wants to track that as a conversion. And then when form completed, that's another conversion. And then when someone's been on the site for more than 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, it wants to track that as a conversion. And someone who has interacted and browsed a certain number of pages, maybe that is a conversion. I'm going to tell you right now, every one of those should not be conversions. The only one that should be, in my opinion, is someone who has successfully filled out a form. They filled out a form. They put in their name, email, phone number, whatever it is. Maybe it's a short form, long form. That is a key point that represents value to the company. Someone landing on a form page does not ring a bell in the salesman's eyes, right? You think about a salesman. Salesman's not going to be excited until they can have a phone number, a name, contact info, someone, some kind of reference to a real person looking for something that they're selling, right? Someone navigating on the site does not represent value. And for the basics of Google Ads, now there are many instances when this may not be true, but this is further down the line, right? You're going to have to make that decision yourself when these more complex conversion action tracking systems might be relevant for you. But for the vast majority of my listeners, these multiple conversion actions are entirely inappropriate. They should not be tracked. You should only have things that make sense. And if your agency, if your manager has pushed additional conversion actions on you for various reasons, you should absolutely push back. There's no reason to have these fluffy conversions so that they can somehow brag that they're getting you a 14% conversion rate, a 24% conversion rate. They're lying to you. They're lying to you simply so they can stay employed by you. All right. So to answer your question specifically, Justin, the point is, I don't consult on Google Analytics. I don't consult on Google Tag Manager. It is a completely separate system. The only thing they have in common is the Google name in the front. But that's it. I don't consult on that. I don't give expert advice there because I'm not an expert. But I am an expert in Google Ads, and I'll tell you what I know about conversions in Google Ads. If you're overwhelmed, if you are like Justin, and you're overwhelmed with the options, you don't even know where to begin, let me give you the best advice that I can. You do not need a crash course. You do not need to buy a course on how to learn how to use Google Tag Manager or how to learn how to use Google Analytics. You only need two things, okay? Number one, you need to create an event in Google Ads. So create a conversion. All right. So they're called different things, and I'm going to use these two terms back and forth. But just be aware, event and conversion are going to mean the same thing, but it's just depending on when you're using it. So I want you to create a conversion in Google Ads. Typically, it's going to be something that is, form filled out or something completed, right? I wouldn't recommend the call tracking or anything like that happens on your website. I don't recommend that system in Google Ads. I'm talking specifically about a code that goes on your website. So there's an option for you to set that up as a conversion. You go through that, and then Google's going to present you two things. So the first thing that you need once you create that conversion is you need that site tag, that Google tag, G tag, whatever you want to call it. Okay? Then the other thing is the event tag, the action tag. It's called specifically the event tag. Okay? Those are the only two things you need, and those need to be placed appropriately on the website, and you don't need any Google Tag Manager stuff. You don't have to have Google Analytics. You don't have to have any of these. So if you've been told that setting up a conversion requires super complex systems where you need to have Google Tag Manager installed coupled with Google Analytics, and then you use Google Ads to send the traffic, and then those two systems point those conversions back, and you are frustrated and overwhelmed, ignore that advice. You don't have to do it that way. You absolutely can, but you don't have to. And so if you're overwhelmed, simply take the G tag code that is given to you whenever you create a conversion and place it on every page of your website. So typically that's done in the header. Usually put that in the header somewhere, the head tag as it's called, and it's repeated on every page, right? That's usually a templated kind of thing. The header's always the same, and you put it in the head tag. Okay. Then you, on the thank you page, after the form is submitted, okay, so someone fills out a form, it takes them to a new URL. So let's say your website is cutedogshoes.com/contact. That's the contact page for them to be able to reach out to you, okay, because you make custom dog shoes. All right, and when they fill that out, then it takes that person, when they hit that submit button on that form, it takes them to cutedogshoes.com/thank you. All right, so that's a different page. That's the page we focus on. And that's the only reliable way that this system works, is if you have a separate URL confirmation page. Find that page and put the event tag on that page, as well as the site tag, the G tag, the Google tag. Okay? So on the thank you page, you have two tags. You have the Google tag, the G tag, and you have the event tag, which is technically the conversion tag. That's the triggering piece of script, code, tag, whatever you want to call it. All these terms mean the same thing, and that's it. Justin, you don't need 15 different things all happening in coordination, because this complexity can often lead to confusion and things breaking if you don't know how it works. And then you get to the point that Justin's at for the rest of you, where you're like, I need a crash course to help me understand everything. No, probably not. Probably not. Let's simplify it. And it's likely that you'd end up being frustrated by the time you tried to learn 3 different systems, from Google Ads to Google Tag Manager to Google Analytics. I mean, you're really setting yourself up for a lot of frustration, a lot of homework, just to get one simple thing done. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that people that are overwhelmed by conversions understand you just need to create a conversion in Google Ads. Take that site tag, that G tag, put it on every part of your website. Then on the thank you page, put only the event tag, and all the instructions about where these tags go in the code are explained on that conversion tag placement screen whenever you create the conversion. It's all there. All right. I hope that's helpful. And if you guys would like more detailed information, you know, if you think that perhaps someone coming on the podcast that knows more about conversions and how to add conversions and, you know, what's important, what's not important, if you think you'd like that, let me know. You know, I am on Twitter or X at Paid Search Pod. You can tweet me there, message me there. You can also just send in an email with your feedback or leave a comment, leave a feedback on Spotify. I also see those as well. Okay, so we are diving in to the main content of the show. We are getting into the next 3 principles. So very quickly, I'm going to tell you the first 3. Then we're going to proceed with principle 4, 5, and 6. So principle 1 was strategic relevance, which has to do with the relationship between the keywords, ads, landing page, call to action. Then principle number 2 is the phases of Google Ads, 4 phases, and each one of them distinct with different decision-making points for each one of them. And then last, pay per value, where I describe very importantly that you should only pay for what the traffic is worth. Pay less for the traffic that's worth less and more for the traffic that is worth more. And pay nothing for the traffic that is worthless. Okay? Worth less and worthless are 2 different things in Google Ads. You shouldn't be paying money for worthless traffic. All right? That should be that should be obvious. But I'll tell you, I find a lot of people that end up spending their business's money on worthless traffic and have no idea. So let's continue into these principles. Let's get into principle number 4 about proactive and reactive management. So proactive, reactive management is referring to 2 different types of methods that you use to manage Google Ads accounts. I feel the day-to-day maintenance and management of Google Ads comes down to these 2 things. Pretty much everything you do is going to fall into one of these 2 categories. You are either going to proactively manage or reactively manage. And if you're a good manager, you're going to do both. To proactively manage, you're going to be adding new opportunities and new methods for Google to find traffic for you. So this comes in the form of many different ways. One way is to add keywords to your existing ad groups. As you are going through your search terms, which I hope is part of the process. You're looking at your search terms, you're looking at your quality of traffic, managing that quality of traffic, and you're finding certain things that are particularly valuable that you didn't think about originally. Okay, and you're adding these search terms as exact match keywords, possibly phrase match keywords. Okay? This is proactive management because you are pulling ideas from the results that you're getting and broadening the campaign. You're proactively adding more because you see something and you're like, oh, I want more of that. Let's go after that. Let's actively push for more of that traffic, more of that kind of search. I want to target that kind of search. Another example of proactive management would be to realize, hey, I'm having issues with volume on my account. Let's say that your account's having problems with number of conversions, or you're targeting really specific exact match keywords. And these exact match keywords are showing up. You're getting traffic, you're getting conversions, but you want more. So a proactive management for a situation like that would be to realize that you need a high funnel campaign. So proactively, you might set up a new campaign. And this campaign might be using more basic terminology, more simple, high funnel, less specific terms. And stick around, because principle 6 is gonna fall right in line with this. But proactively, you're going to realize I need to fill out more of the funnel. I'm targeting all low funnel, all really specific, super, long tail, very specific terms and keywords. These words are like, well, since I talked about dog shoes, which is a ridiculous example, because I'm sure there's probably one person out there that has a dog shoe store, but you're really happy, so I'll stick with it. You want to you're advertising something very low funnel, like large dog pink shoes, or large dog female or colorful shoes, or something like that. It's specifying the fact that they're colorful and that they're large, or petite, cute dog shoes, right? Both that it's petite, small, and it's cute, right? You've realized that there's certain searches out there that you're getting that are very valuable, and you're targeting those in a very specific way, with exact match, long tail, phrase match kind of keywords, okay? And you're realizing, this is working, but I need to grab more. That would be proactive, to add more traffic on the more, something very generic, like just dog shoes, phrase match, right? That's a lot more generic, going to be a whole lot more traffic. And maybe you have that in a different campaign, maybe you have it in a different ad group, but that's proactively adding more opportunity for your Google Ads to provide you with more traffic, more things to analyze, more data, more metrics. Now, the other side of this is reactive management. Reactive management can take the form of other opportunities based on the data that you receive from your proactive management. So this takes the form of looking at your search terms and adding negative keywords. If you see a trend on the dog shoes side, and you notice that the cheap aspect keeps coming up, cheap or DIY or things like that. You see the word YouTube popping in. A reactive method of management would be to add DIY as a negative keyword, add YouTube as a negative keyword, or anything that you don't want to target. You're reacting by blocking that. So you're creating opportunity on one side and stopping loss on the other side. This shifts the window in the direction that you want it to go, right? You're creating one on one side and cutting it on the other. You're moving it towards the direction that you want it to go. This is incredibly important, because if you just do one, it will not work as well. Just doing proactive only grows your campaign. Just doing reactive only shrinks your campaign. You must do both. All right. There's other reactive examples as well, like blocking certain device types, blocking certain times of day, removing certain geographic locations. There's a lot of things that you can do. Pausing certain keywords entirely, changing the match types of those keywords, restricting it is an infinite opportunity, but so is proactive. You can continue to add things proactively all the time. And it should be a healthy, reoccurring thing that you do in the account. So that is principle number 4, proactive and reactive management. Now, I'm going to get into principle number 5, which is a bit controversial, maybe a bit shocking, but I'm going to tell you something that might make you recoil a bit. Principle number 5 is quality score. And I'll sum it up this way. Basically, quality score does not matter. I say that, and I know it's shocking, and I don't actually mean that, but for everyday management, for practical purposes, I want you to manage your account as though quality score doesn't matter. I put these principles together, 1 through 10, because I put them in a basis of the most important ones first. And if you're following the first 3, strategic relevance, phases of success, and pay per value, then by the time you get to 5, you can ignore quality score. And let me explain why. In my eyes, quality score is secondary to quality of traffic. I'm going to present you with 2 scenarios. Scenario number 1, the person has a solid account with no conversions and no phone calls, no leads, no generation of performance representing value to their business. They're just creating shining Google Ads reports that have very low cost per click, very high CTR, and very high quality scores. Okay? But they're getting nothing out of it. This is more common than you think, because if you use max conversions and broad match and just go with whatever Google's suggesting for your keywords, and then maybe use AI to generate some ad copy for yourself, you could very well stumble into great quality score. And you'll just stumble right on out and your business will fail because you're spending money and generating nothing. So, I mean, it's the reality. Quality score was not designed for you. Quality score is a byproduct of doing things right in Google Ads. And right and doing things right and doing them right for you are 2 different things. And that's essentially the contrast I'm drawing here. Quality of traffic is right for you. Quality score is right for Google. Sometimes those are in conflict. The system works great whenever those 2 align, but that does not always happen. So I'm speaking directly to the people that are struggling with quality score. And you're like, well, I'm getting conversions, but I keep seeing these warnings: low quality score, and I see my CPCs are higher than what my competition is, or my buddy told me, what they're paying per click, and theirs is a lot cheaper, and mine's a whole lot more expensive. And I did an audit with someone, and they said my quality score is really bad, but you're getting leads, you're getting sales, you're making money off Google Ads. I tell you that your quality score is not something that you should just put above your quality of traffic. If you're getting the traffic that you want, do not change the structure of your Google Ads account to try and appease the system to give you better quality scores. Now, granted, you should probably make sure that if you're not getting good quality scores and you're not following my first 3 principles, then don't use this quality score principle as a crutch to say, oh, well, I have low quality scores, but I'm happy with my Google Ads. No, that's not the point. You can have poor quality scores and have a failing account. But my point is, don't judge your performance based on your quality scores. Don't think that a poor quality score means you're doing it wrong. I have plenty of clients, people I consult with, people I do audits on their accounts all the time where, you know what? Who cares if this shining, high-performing keyword has a quality score of 3? It has a quality score of 5. Sometimes has a quality score of 1 or 2. It's performing. It's getting the very specific, high sought after, maybe perhaps low volume search traffic that otherwise would be impossible to get with keywords that have high quality scores. Let me explain. Going back to the dog shoe example again, if petite doggy shoes is getting you traffic for that small little, cute little dog, Chihuahua, Maltese kind of foot shoe size, and Google doesn't like it, it gives you a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 for dog shoes, but you know that you mainly sell small size, so you really want to try and push the smaller, miniature dog, small dog kind of size, then you should go after what works for your business, because dog shoes might have a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 quality score, and small dog shoes, tiny dog shoes, a teacup dog shoes, all these may only have 5 out of 10, 3 out of 10, something not nearly as good. Don't think that you need to pause anything in your account if it provides better quality of traffic and the quality score is low. Those are contrasting, and who cares? Follow success where success leads you. Don't follow the signs because Google says it's bad, or the quality score isn't as good as it could be, or your buddy says that his is higher, or whatever. All right? So that is principle number 5, quality score. Quality of traffic versus quality score. And then last, this one is one of my favorites because it applies everywhere for all the other principles. And it is a cornerstone, but I had to put them in some kind of order, but I do love this one because risk management is number 6. Principles of Google Ads, number 6 is risk management. You control your risk with 3 things in Google Ads, and these 3 things determine everything you do in your Google search campaigns. Number 1, the number of words in the keyword. That is your first risk management factor. So let me explain it this way. If I have the phrase shoes, that is higher risk than dog shoes, right? Shoes could be anything. Very high risk for someone who sells dog shoes to just have the word shoes. Wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. You probably would know that, right? Duh, obviously. I only sell canine shoes. I don't sell them to humans. I do sell them to humans, but I don't sell them for humans. So shoes would be inappropriate. Very high risk, very bad investment. Dog shoes is better. Now, we add one more word, and suddenly the risk drops further. Cute dog shoes, small dog shoes, large dog shoes. This is something that immediately lowers the risk further. Now, as risk goes down or risk goes up, the volume of traffic tends to be the inverse. So as I add more words to the keyword, small dog shoes, the volume of traffic will decrease, but the risk will decrease as well. I think I said inverse. Technically, it's in this instance, they're moving in the same direction. Risk goes down and volume goes down. This is a balancing act. I am not telling you that you should have everything in your Google Ads account low risk, but you should understand the risk applied with every level. Okay, so number of words in the keyword implies risk. Look at your keywords. Think about how much risk is involved with this. Because the next thing you're going to have to look at is match type. Broad match shoes versus phrase match small dog shoes are in completely different universes as far as risk. So you should understand now, match type, broad, phrase, and exact match type represent broad being the most risk, phrase being moderate, and exact mean least risk or low risk. I would never say that exact match is no risk, because nowadays exact match is not exact. It's kinda match. It's close to. It's good enough match. It's no longer exact. And broad is essentially extremely broad, right? So the extremes of each of them have moved much further into the comprehensive aspect. Exact match is much riskier than it used to be. But regardless, now when you look at your keywords, you should see two situations: number of words in the keyword and the match type for each one of them. Okay, so you should start to see risk factors popping up, especially if you look at your Google Ads account and you see high-risk keywords spending the most in your Google Ads. Now, I'm not saying that you should turn off high-risk keywords if they're performing well, but the important part is understanding the Google Ads account for what it is, understanding that you are putting risk forward before you're high risk forward before you're putting low risk forward. Okay, and then the last is bids. You can, if you now took the broad match keyword shoes and gave it max conversions with no target CPA goal, with no conversions at all. Let's say max conversions is the bidding strategy that it's given, and you have no history of conversions, maybe ever in the account, or maybe in the past 60 days. That is the highest possible risk you could run, because there is no limit to the CPC. There is no limit to the reach of a broad match one word keyword. Possibly just the word shoes, broad match, max conversions, no conversion history, no gatekeeping on your CPC or the boundary at which this campaign can roll. That is the highest risk that I can possibly think of. So now adding these all together, the lowest risk that you could run would be something like small dog shoes exact match, and you have a manual bid in place where you're only bidding $1 or 50 cents or something like that, right? It's still getting traffic maybe, but it's very rare and it's very low risk, but you're still able to run it. The beauty of principle number 6, if you listen closely, you'll hear it. I'm telling you that there is no such thing as a keyword or a target or a setting or anything that you can't run in Google Ads. Everything is worth testing. If you know the risk of all of the settings, of your match type, of the number of words in the keyword, of the bids, if you know how to manage that risk, you can test anything. And the secret is this: you really can test anything if you use manual bids. Manual bidding is my preferred method. It is the best method, period. I'll fight you on it. It's the best. I'm going to talk more about that in the future. I actually have some experiences that I like to share with you guys about side-by-side comparison of manual versus conversion optimized automated bidding. But that's not the point for today. The point is, with manual bidding, you can test anything. Now, with automated bidding, it's a little different. When it comes to bids, you can lower the risk by having target CPA at the ad group level, perhaps. So you could lower the risk or raise the risk based on that target CPA going up or down, or target ROAS. It's a little more finicky, because now you're going to be tempted to create small ad groups with 1 or 2 keywords in them in order to properly risk management these things, which is not ideal. So Not a big fan of that situation, but everybody's different, so I won't get into that. But I hope that helps you to understand risk management in Google Ads. It is a core principle. It is number 6 on my list of 10. I will be coming back again and going through the rest of the 10. So if you're not subscribed, be sure and subscribe. You can find me at chrisschaefer.com. And I want to tell you about optio.com/PSP. That is the link. If you haven't tried it, please try it. My sponsor is a big part of me continuing this podcast. So if you value this podcast, at least give them a shout. Say, hey, I don't need the software, but I just want to say thanks for supporting Chris. Thanks for supporting the podcast. Tweet them, put them on, message them on Facebook or whatever. Just shoot something my way. That would be greatly appreciated. I'll catch you guys next week.